The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the QATV staff or board of directors. QATV, in compliance with FCC regulations, is prohibited from exercising control over the content of independent, member-produced public access programming.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Caslin. I'm a paranormal investigator, and I'd like to invite you to the first episode of Paranormal South Coast. Our goal in doing this show is to hopefully provide some information about what goes on in a paranormal investigation, maybe open up a dialogue with people about whether or not paranormal activity really exists. My co-host, Ed Perry, I don't think you can see him just yet, is someone that I have been doing paranormal investigation. There he is over there on the end. I've been doing paranormal investigation with him for quite some time. And we first started together at a place called the Stagecoach Inn in Groton, as I recall. Although I started before that, I had a personal experience several years ago that sort of led me down this path. I'm a nurse. I saw what I thought was an apparition. I didn't believe it at the time. And later on, somebody else came up to me and had had the same experience. And so I kind of led me down this path of if these things aren't real, then what are they? My specialty in paranormal work is background investigation. I'm the person you see on TV who goes to libraries and historical societies. I pull up deeds on properties, and I try to find out whether or not there might be a reason for the activity, or if I can track it to a certain person. And because my personal belief is that I think we're getting watched from the library. Oh God, I'm blowing it already. Anyway, so here we are at QATV, and my personal belief about paranormal activity is that if it's real, if it's something that you can track to another person. So we don't ask anybody to believe. All the people you see here tonight take a skeptical approach to the work that they do. We just want you to take a walk with us for a while. Keep an open mind, listen to what we have to say, and decide for yourself. Along the way, we're going to be taking down and debunking some myths that exist, both in the public mind and in the paranormal community, about what's really going on when paranormal activity exists. What we plan on doing is simply to put the information out there and let you decide for yourself, and I hope you enjoy what we're doing. We're going to have a lot of fun doing this. Now tonight we're going to be starting with Ghost Hunting 101, which may take us through a couple of episodes because we have to discuss equipment, and there's equipment on the table here in front of us, and ghost hunters use a wide range of equipment. There's a whole lot of theory that goes into what they do, so we'll take it down to a couple of different episodes. We'll have a lot of fun with it. Tonight, to help us, I'd first like to introduce Mr. Eric Lavoie of DART.
Thank you.
I said it correctly.
You did.
And his partner, Paul Hebert, and I want you to go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you got involved in paranormal investigation. We'll start with Eric.
Okay. Again, my name is Eric Lavoie. I've been a paranormal researcher for approximately 23 years. And I don't think I can actually call it paranormal researcher. I didn't know what it was 23 years ago. I just knew that I would grab maybe my camera or digital recorder and go into a cemetery, and you're looking for spirits. Not until probably later on, and all these shows started coming out, there was actually a term called, ghost hunting. Mm-hmm. It took me down a slow path. Paranormal researching, when it first started off, there was really no books out there. There was no literature. There was no TV shows. So a lot of the stuff, it was experimental. I started off with the old reel-to-reel tape recorders and using a shortwave radio as a like a white noise generator. And I got some great EVPs off that. And you know, and today we use all these different devices, you know.
Right, because as time's gone on and the equipment's evolved,
Yep.
we found that, you know, early on they said, oh, you have to have white noise in order to capture EVPs, but we found as the equipment's evolved that really we don't.
Yep.
That the less hiss, the better, because you get much
That's
clearer
right.
EVPs. So
Yeah, and we evolved to the point that we, just like you said, we would use these white generators for, you know, maybe 10 years, and we got away from it because now you want that pure, clear EVP. And here we are, people are now using hack shacks, and so we're almost going back to that white noise type of generator
Yeah.
in a lot of our equipment.
we'll explain
so-
what a hack shack is in an
No,
upcoming
that's
show.
fine. But yeah, and here I am today. It's been fun, and you know, meeting with you. We've gone on cases. You meet a lot of good people in the field, and you know, not everything is paranormal, and you have to debunk a lot of things, and it's free.
Yeah, it's free. It's free. And, well, except
it's-
for the equipment. No. I've spent
Yeah. No.
I've spent thousands of dollars on equipment. I'd also like to say about Eric Lavoie, while we're here, that he's going to be on a paranormal show this fall on ABC called Ghost Town, being produced by the producers of the show Ghost Whisperer. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And so,
gonna be a lot of fun.
well, hopefully he won't pretend that he doesn't know me, you know, when
Never.
he's out there and he's famous.
No, we'll have a
So-
video.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, we
How
have a
with
video
us?
now.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
take it away from
It's
me.
proof,
Take it away.
right?
Yeah, I got proof. I got proof. Every time I go in a case with certain people, I always make sure I have a picture, so you know
That's
you
right.
can't diss me later. Okay, so Paul, how about you? How did you get started in paranormal
Well, my
investigation?
name's Paul Hebard. I actually had an experience when I was 12 years old. I lived at my great-grandfather's house. I lived down in the basement, and I was walking my way up the cellar stairs, and I noticed this golden outline of what looked like an apparition standing right there in the stairwell. So I didn't think much of it until I started talking to Eric, who has a ghost hunting team, which I had joined later. And ever since then, I've been paranormal investigating with Eric.
Since
Okay.
2008,
Yeah.
pretty
Since
much.
2008.
That's when DART, we actually founded DART.
You formed. So were you with other groups before then?
No, I was always by myself. You would join different people like yourself.
Yeah.
But which just with the interest, like with Paul at work, and hey, you go ghost hunting, and yeah, you want to come out, and you know, all the people interested. So we started having meetings at my house every once a month, and we would talk about different investigations and places that we could go, and just ghost stories. And
Right.
that's where it started in 2008, as in DART.
Okay. Ed and I probably started together when in 2007.
Yep.
Probably.
So, yeah.
Though I'd been out investigating before that. I was a member of two different groups in the past. I was a member of a group called Signs. I was also a member of the TAPS home team for a while. But like Eric, I kind of like being an independent. And Worcester Paranormal is actually a group, more of a family-based group. It's more relatives that we pull from. And so we're not really a group. We don't run around with black T-shirts with headstones on them, and you know, we don't have like lip rings and that kind of thing. But we're more a group of individuals who come together to
Wait,
do
there's
cases.
groups that have lip rings?
Oh, there are.
Like, just that's their ghost hunting
tattoos,
thing?
yeah. That's how you can't be a ghost hunter unless you're unless
So, I
you're.
mean, if I knew there was going to be shirts with tombstones on it, I probably would have asked for more.
Wow.
No. But yeah, no,
All right, we'll get to one. All right,
we had started together.
you're going to be so sorry because there's going to come a time now you're going to have to wear it.
Yeah.
That's okay. I've won the Light Lion costume, so I could do just about anything. So originally, when we started out, it was pitched to me as an idea that we'd be hanging out in spooky, dark houses, and in my spare time, I write fiction. So if you're going to be writing spooky fiction, and you have the opportunity to hang out at all these spooky places, it just sounded like a great idea. A lot of the ghost hunting that I had seen was hanging out at places for 9 or 10 hours in the dark, in the cold, being really quiet. So for the most part, it'd be like a party that just nobody showed up at except for your really 3 best friends.
Right.
And that'd be the whole thing. And, you know, at the end of the day, it ends up being your personal experience, I think, that makes you believe in it. And for me, it was that house in Connecticut. We were hanging out, doing our thing, me and my cousin, and We're in the kitchen, in the dark. It had been 9 hours. We're out of coffee. I'm ready for bed. And just sitting there, and a little girl voice pops up behind me. And, you know, I was brave and swore a few times and fled off to the other side of the room and left my
Yeah.
young cousin there by herself.
Yeah, left my daughter Molly sitting there, and you fled across the room. I remember that very well.
At the time, I thought that was the best course of action because I could draw the spirit away from
Yeah,
her.
no, I don't think
and
so.
safely over into the corner
No,
where
I don't
Safety
think
first,
so.
that's
there were a
right.
bunch of larger guys that I was going to go hang out with
Yeah.
there. But, you know, as soon as I get over there, boom, the voice happened again. And later on, we went back and we looked at all the recording equipment. It had picked up on several different recorders. Mike was there at the time, and he had picked it up on all his little, you know,
Condenser
doohickeys. So,
mics and-
yeah, so we really knew that it was, you know, something legitimate had happened. And, you know, from that point forward, it's not something that I could, you know, whip out and show someone. But when you do have that experience, you kind of know for yourself.
Well,
Sure.
and that's the truth, because we are part of a group of people who we've all had experiences, so we don't have that issue of we don't believe, because we've been there. But for most people out there, you know, they just don't believe. There's just, you know, a huge pocket of people out there who look at us like we're crazy,
That's
you
very
know,
true.
because we're out there doing ghost hunting. So I've always said that I could put a ghost in a bag and put it on CNN, and people aren't going to believe. They're going to think I made it up. So until you've had that experience, it does kind of change, you know, what your beliefs are about the paranormal. Okay, so all right, you guys, so let's talk ghost theory. Reports of hauntings and the belief in spirits have existed since ancient times. However, the oldest reported hauntings in modern times are usually no more than 200 years old. Modern ghost hunting actually began with the spiritualist movement in the latter 1800s. Those psychics no longer claim physical manifestations of spirits as they did in the 1800s. If you see the old daguerreotype pictures, you see them with like goo coming out of their mouth. That no longer exists. But people in modern times do still attempt seances and spirit communication, but they do it now with recorders and cameras. During the spiritualist era and even into the 1920s, there were some very famous people who were involved in attempting spirit communication. Thomas Alva Edison, at the end of his life, is reported to have been trying to develop a device, because when he recorded, he, like we do, recorded voices of people that he knew weren't in the room. So there were other people like Harry Houdini, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, very famous people who actually were spiritualists and who practiced, you know, ghost hunting. It was just in a different form. It was more in seances and table tipping, and now we tend to stick to electronics. Now, we're also going to talk about types of hauntings, types of apparitions. There is in the paranormal community, they separate out the belief of a spirit versus a ghost. They believe a ghost is an earthbound spirit, someone attached to a person, a place, even a thing. You know, there have been reports of a ghost being attached to like a piece of jewelry or a plate in the house. A spirit is supposed to be a non-earthbound spirit, one that kind of comes and goes and isn't bound there for whatever reason. I don't know if I believe in that. As we go along, you're going to find out that some of my beliefs are a little bit different than what people out there believe. My personal belief about the paranormal is that you should stick to reality-based explanations and scientific explanations.